Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most shocking developments in South Africa's public sector in recent months. A corruption scandal worth a staggering R5 billion has rocked the Department of Higher Education and Training, raising serious questions about oversight, accountability, and the future of our country's education system. Now, if you thought state capture was a thing of the past, this latest revelation proves that the shadow of corruption still looms large over our public institutions. So, grab a seat, because we're unpacking how a massive fraud network allegedly embedded within one of the most critical government departments operated right under everyone's noses for years. Earlier this year, the Department of Higher Education commissioned a forensic investigation following rising concerns about irregularities in its financial and procurement systems. What was initially seen as a routine audit soon turned into a bombshell revelation. The forensic report exposed an entrenched culture of fraud, including the awarding of fraudulent contracts, grossly inflated invoices, and a sophisticated kickback scheme allegedly involving senior department officials. We're talking about multiple years' worth of corruption, systemic, deeply embedded, and carefully orchestrated. These weren't just a few bad apples. This was a network of insiders exploiting the system at the expense of South Africa's future, our students and institutions of higher learning. As soon as the findings were made public, the department moved swiftly to suspend several employees linked to the scandal. These suspensions are meant to ensure a thorough investigation without interference or tampering from within. Department spokesperson Nondimbile stated firmly, "We are committed to rooting out corruption and restoring credibility." And while these suspensions are a critical first step, many observers are saying they're not nearly enough. Civil society organizations, including the Public Integrity Forum, have welcomed the suspensions but are demanding more. Sifo Dlamini, one of the forum's leading voices, stated, "We demand full transparency and that all perpetrators, regardless of rank, face prosecution." And he's not wrong. South Africans have grown weary of scandals that lead to suspensions, but never to courtrooms or jail cells. The issue here is about more than just R5 billion lost. It's about trust. When government officials misuse education funds, they're not just stealing money, they're robbing students of opportunities, universities of resources, and the country of its future potential. In a nation where youth unemployment remains staggeringly high, any loss of funding or integrity in education policy has far-reaching consequences. Let's talk about the impact. The Department of Higher Education is responsible for overseeing everything from universities and TVET colleges to skills development programs that are meant to uplift young South Africans into the workforce. When billions go missing from that department, institutions can't hire quality lecturers. Students can't get adequate support. Infrastructure projects stall. Bursary schemes suffer. The entire mission of empowering the next generation collapses under the weight of corruption. This isn't the first time South Africa has faced such scandals. From the digital vibes saga in the Department of Health to the looting of state-owned entities like Eskom and Transnet, we've seen how fragile our institutions can become when corruption is allowed to fester. But what makes this latest scandal particularly alarming is the sector it targets. Education isn't just another portfolio, it's the bedrock of national development. What's even more troubling is what this scandal reveals about the state of governance inside the Department of Higher Education. According to the forensic report, this was not a case of isolated mismanagement. Instead, it points to systemic weaknesses in internal controls, procurement oversight, and financial accountability. Experts are warning that unless structural reforms are implemented immediately, we could be dealing with more of the same in the future. These reforms must include stricter vetting of officials, real-time monitoring of financial transactions, independent auditing, and the strengthening of internal disciplinary bodies. It also raises a critical question: where was the oversight from Treasury and Parliament during all these years of alleged wrongdoing? Let's not forget, this is public money, taxpayer money, that's meant to be reinvested into society. And when it gets siphoned off through corruption, it's the poorest communities who suffer the most. Now, the department faces a tough road ahead. Not only does it have to conduct internal investigations and support any legal prosecutions, but it also needs to reassure the public and its stakeholders, students, universities, academic staff, and parents, that their trust has not been permanently destroyed. This will require transparency, consistency, and above all, accountability. There is also the matter of reputational damage. South Africa is already battling low investor confidence and skepticism about the efficiency of its public institutions. Scandals like these only deepen that crisis. They send a message to both local and international observers that corruption is still alive and well within government structures. But here's where things can take a turn, if the government is serious. The next few weeks will be critical. Will we see arrests? Will the Hawks and NPA step in? Will Parliament hold a special committee inquiry to track the misuse of funds and make recommendations to close those loopholes? President Cyril Ramaphosa has made fighting corruption one of his flagship commitments since taking office. But we've seen time and time again that rhetoric without enforcement is meaningless. If there was ever a time to demonstrate political will, it is now. This scandal could be a turning point, or it could become yet another forgotten file collecting dust in the archives of injustice. South Africans are watching. And they're tired. Tired of commissions with no consequences. Tired of suspensions with full pay. Tired of being asked for patience while their futures are looted in broad daylight. Civil society will need to keep up the pressure. Media will need to keep reporting fearlessly. Whistleblowers must be protected, not punished. And as citizens, we must demand better, because education is not a luxury, it's a right, and one that must be safeguarded with everything we've got. So, as this story continues to unfold, we'll be watching closely. We'll be bringing you updates on investigations, any arrests that are made, and how this affects public sector reform in the long run. What do you think? Should more senior heads roll? Is the suspension of employees enough, or do you think this calls for a full-scale commission of inquiry into the Department of Higher Education? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below, we'd love to hear from you. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others who care about accountability and the future of education in South Africa. Your support helps us continue digging into the stories that matter. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay informed, stay engaged, and see you next time.